This is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up! Card videos, please click that subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos release. Anyway, now let's go make a card. Hello everybody! Today we're doing something really different. We're going to make two cards, but I'm actually going to show you a really cool technique. And what I've done, first of all, I'm featuring the new Honeybee Home stamp set. It's from the new mini catalog, January to June 2022. Can you believe it? Anyway, so this is the featuring stamp set. But what I'm showing you is my background. I am making a background using refill inks. Now, our refill inks are water-based inks. So you can't really paint with them because they just don't, they don't do anything. I mean, you can, but you can't. And what I'm doing is I'm painting. So I am actually taking our water-based ink and I'm turning it into a hybrid pigment ink using Whisper White, because Whisper White is a pigment ink. So I'm going to be showing you how to turn these colors into a pigment so we can paint. So I've got two cards here, and this one I thought was really cool, and it does say "Stay Wonderful" right here. It might be hard to see in the video, but you can definitely see it in person. And I've got these bees, which I've also colored, and then I've got this background, a different kind of a background. It's more of a modern art kind of background, and then I stamped over it. And then the insides are very basic. Now I've kind of pre-put the cards together. Now we're going to be using 5.5 by 4 1/4, and there are two card bases here. And these are cherry cobbler, and it's got a basic black on this one. And the basic black is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And this one is also cherry cobbler, 5.5 by 4 1/4. And this black glitter, now the black glitter I cut 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, but I took my stitched rectangles and cut a big rectangle out, because that's a lot of black glitter to waste behind a card. And by the way, this is going away, and Stampin' Up! Is having a clearance sale right now on all the mini catalogs from July to December. So this is going away. So if you want this, if it's not already gone, because it's COVID and inventory is weird, but grab it, because you won't see it for a long time. It's not in the new mini catalog, I can tell you that. And so if you want it, it might come back next year, or next holiday catalog next year, but you never know. So I cut this out just to kind of save it. And then, so these are our fronts. Now, I went ahead and put the insides together, and all these dimensions are on the description of my video. So don't frantically write down dimensions and all that. Just go to the description. All the dimensions and all the items that I'm using and all the cards are there. In fact, for the items, I am a demonstrator, and you could just click on those links and you can place an order directly with me. That would be awesome. Merry Christmas. But you can click on the item. So except for the Honeybee, the stamp and the dies, because they won't be available till January. But if it's January 2022 plus, you can click on them and get them. So I went ahead, and the basic black is 4 by 5 1/4, cherry cobbler 375 by 5. And then I just stamped these little flowers here and a bee. And on this one, and it's going the other direction, I just stamped two of the flowers here and the smaller flowers, and it's the same dimension on the paper. So I didn't think we needed to go through that. And also, ladies or gentlemen, whoever, I do give away the demo card. All you have to do is like and subscribe. You do need to be a first-time subscriber. Like, subscribe, put your address in the comments, or you could email me or put your email address, and I can get your mailing address offline. So let's go ahead and start with these backgrounds. So first of all, we're going to need some basic supplies. Now, I'm just using basic white. It's going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Get some paint brushes. Now, the paint brushes, I like to get the ones that are short. And you're going to need to get a really, really fine paintbrush. This is, I don't know, it says 3/0, I don't know. But it's Artist Loft Sorrento, but it's really, really, really fine tipped one. And then just a bunch of short bristled ones like this. A paint palette would be great. I got this at Walmart for like $1. Stampin Sponge. Now, we used to sell these, but they took them out of the catalog. I don't know why. But just grab a sponge. And then I've got Whisper White. This is the refill. It is on page 129. We're also going to be using later the stamp pad. This is also on page 129. These are kind of the things that are hidden in the annual catalog that don't jump out at you. But so we're going to use some Whisper White, and we're going to be using the Memento Refill, Real Red Refill, Cherry Cobbler Refill, Mary Merlot Refill, and Daffodil Delight. And also grab a paper towel and some scratch paper. So we're going to start out with the Memento. I'm going to pick a little dish here. I'm not going to need a lot, so I'm only going to put in a couple of drops of the Memento. Then I'm going to do some Real Red, and I'm going to put like 6 drops. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Actually, I'm putting in 12 because I'm making 2. If you're making 1, you can just get away with 6. And then Cherry Cobbler, 1. And this one's a little thick for whatever reason. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And then we're going to go to our Mary Merlot. Same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then the Daffodil Delight, I'm not going to use very much, so I'm going to only put in like 3 drops. Now for the Whisper White. Now, usually I'm only doing 1 card at a time, so I only use 6 drops and just a little bit of the white. So I'm going to just kind of pour in what I think is a good mixture. So what I'm doing here, like I said in the intro, these inks, like the Real Red, all of our inks except for Stays On and Whisper White, all the inks are water-based. The only ones that are pigment is the Stays On and this Whisper White. So what I'm doing is I'm making a hybrid paint. So I want to be able to paint on the paper instead of just, in fact, I'll show you, I'll just put some red in a thing and I'll show you in a couple of minutes what the difference is, but I'm making a hybrid. So I'm just putting in a little bit of white to give it a base to stick to the paper. So I'm just putting in a few squeezes of that and in just the colors, including the Daffodil Delight. Now we don't have to put it in, well, yes, we do. We have to put it in the black as well. Just a little bit in the black. And then you're going to need to, in fact, off camera here, I've got them all lined up. So I kind of know where things are in my dish, so you can keep track. And then here's our brushes, and you're going to need a brush for each one. So I'm going to take this one, and I'm going to start mixing that Real Red. And this is the color I'm going to get here. Okay. And I was going to show you the difference between the 2 inks. I just mixed up that Real Red, and this is what it looks like. Okay, see how that looks like paint? Now if I just took the ink refill without that Whisper White, that's what it looks like. See, this is much thicker and looks like paint. This one's already staining the paper, so it's completely different, and as you go it kind of loses it doesn't spread. So we're making this an actual paint color. So let's go ahead and start with that red since we've got it mixed up. So I got my white paper here, I got my scratch paper underneath, and we are going to do this one first. So the method I did this one was just straight lines. So I'm going to just eclectically, I can speak, just make these lines, straight lines going in different places, just like this. Okay. And then I'm going to grab another color. Now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to put it to the side. It's off camera here and it's resting on my paper towel in the order of the palette here. So I'm going to take that to the side. I'm going to grab another color. This one is Cherry Cobbler. I'm going to mix this one up. It has that white in there. Mix, mix, mix. And the reason why I chose Real Red, Cherry Cobbler, and Merlot is obviously they're all red and it's light, medium, and dark. You know what I mean? And I'm just going to randomly put this color on my paper. And we're going to go back and forth on these colors, so don't worry about how it looks at the moment, which looks pretty terrible right now. That's okay. We're going to take this one down. We're going to put it in order on the side because we don't want to mix up our brushes. And then I'm going to go Mary Merlot, mix it up. It's got that white in it. Mix, mix, mix. And this is the darkest color. So I'm going to put some here, some here, some here, and just kind of fill it in where you like. And this is the part, once you get down to this color, where you might want to go back and forth. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to put it to the side and I'm just going to let it dry a little bit before we do any more of the black. Now get out another piece of scratch paper and now we're going to do this one. So we got our Whisper White again. We've got all the colors already mixed up. So I'm going to start with Real Red again. And this one I did different. I did the lines curved. So when the bees are out there, they look like they're swarming. So I'm going to do various forms of arches all over. So none of the lines are straight. And you're just going to fill it in. Okay, I'm going to switch to Cherry Cobbler. Remember, if you go over a line, it will cover it up, so just beware. And it looks absolutely terrible now, but I swear it does turn into these. I've already made some, so yeah, it's funny. Okay, and now to the Mary Merlot. Make them kind of just go everywhere randomly. So now I'm just kind of making sure there's no white anywhere. Just taking a whatever color I happen to have and just making sure, like move it on your scratch paper because sometimes that'll hide stuff, and just kind of make sure you got that. All right, so now we're gonna let this dry a little bit. So here's that first one in the first card here. And remember we put in some black, and I did mix in some white into the black here because you do need to have it kind of stick. And I'm going to add some more Memento because that white really whitened it up. So I put a lot more Memento in there. And everybody should have a Memento refill because you got Memento ink pads and you never want to be out of black, that's for sure. And then just kind of test a color if you want to. And what I did on this one is I just made lines. Now, I did the lines before I knew what I was doing with the card, so I don't think I would recommend putting any big lines like right here in the middle. Even though it has one here, I might try to avoid that so much. Now, here's kind of the scary part. I'm just going to take this really thin angled brush and I'm going to just make random lines. The more random, the better, you know. And as this dries more, because it's not dry yet, it'll look kind of cool. So that's how I did this one. Now the last step on this background is we're going to take one of these sponges. And these are the Stampin' Up sponges that they had in last year's catalog that they took out of this year's. I don't know why. But just get a sponge and put it in that black and test it out before you put it on your card, just in case you have like too much, like I had too much on there. So maybe take it out and do that. Okay, now test it out. Okay, so this is good. And we're gonna randomly put this on our background in kind of a circular motion, just like everything else. So I'm gonna put one here, here, get some more. Okay, test it out every time you do it, just in case. And we're just going to stamp it going in a circular motion like so. Just like that. Now, the last thing we need to do is let everything dry up a little bit. So to go take a break, clean out all your trays and everything, and let this set. While you're cleaning, you notice that I put my yellow in already. And I'm going to go ahead and just take another little side dish and do my yellow and get rid of this one, just because I can clean everything up as I wait for the ink to set, because we don't need anything else. We are done with all the colors except for the yellow. So I'm going to grab a little dish here, clean up all my stuff, and I'll be back. Okay, we're all dried. And what I did is I just went to lunch and I came back. Give it a nice hour. Anytime you use the Whisper White, this pigmented ink, it just takes a little longer to dry. So you do want to give it a good hour for drying. So now let's do some stamping. It's just some simple stuff here, really. I know that these are the orange stamps and you don't need the Stampin' Pad, but this does stamp a little light and I always get nervous. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the Stampin' Pad just to make sure. So what I'm stamping now are the flowers from the Honeybee. So I'm going to use this one, and two of the bees. And the sentiment I'm going to use is Miss You. So here's the first one. And I'm just going to stamp this on each side of that flower. And then again. Okay. And you see it does stamp a little light, but we're going to be darkening these in anyway. So I'm going to stamp the bees. I'm going to put one up here. And then I'm going to use that same bee and put one here. And then the sentiment we're going to be using is Miss You. And I kind of wanted to get it in kind of a lighter red area. And this is kind of dark here, so might just put it like around here so I can hit a little bit of the light red. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the bee going the other direction and put them up here. So we're all stamped. Now what I'm going to grab is my black Stampin' Write pen. Now this Stampin' Write pen is also on one of those weird pages. It's on page 128. This Stampin' Write matches that Memento, and these things are like $3 in the catalog. And so if you go to the description of my video, there's a link to where you can get this. You could just click on it. It'll go right to my Stampin' Up site, and you can place an order. God forbid. Anyway, so right now all I'm going to do is take this marker, and I'm going to take the fine end of it, and I'm going to blacken in everything. So just like trace and go around all of these flowers. So I'm going to fill all these in and the bumblebees, and I'll be back. So I went ahead and blacked everything out, and all I need to do is snail. Now the snail won't stick to the glitter, so just put the snail in the middle and then like that. And now we're going to go ahead and bling it up a bit. We're going to take some Wink Stella and we're going to put it on the bees, and this will transfer a little bit of black. If you notice, the tip will get a little dark, so once you're done, go ahead and just get it off on a piece of paper. But I'm going to go ahead and fill in the bees with the Wink Stella, and I'll be back. Also, what's new in the new mini catalog, January to June 2022, are these matte dots, these classic matte dots, and they're different sizes of black and white, and they're pretty cool. So I'm going to put them in the middle of these two flowers. And that is the first card. Don't forget, I give away the demo cards. Now let's do the second one here. Let me pull it up. Now we're going to do the bees on the other card, and we're going to use the full-bodied bee, and we're going to stamp in the Whisper White, and we're going to do 4 of these. And just make sure you get, and I just contaminated my white with black. That's bad. 3 and 4. Now we're going to take the die that goes with this bee and take a piece of tape. If any of you have watched my videos, you know I use the delicate painter's tape, so that's why my tape is yellow. And go ahead and tape that on and cut all 4 of these out. Now that you cut your little bumblebees out, go ahead and take that Wink Stella again and only put it on the wings. So I'm going to put it on all 4 of these wings, and I'll be back. Now that the wings all have the Wink Stella, I went ahead and mixed in a couple of drops of the Daffodil Delight and a drop of the Whisper White, and I'm going to mix it up. Now this is where I'm using that really super thin pointed brush, and I'm just going to mix real good. And I'm going to have to give these wings, or the body of the bumblebee, quite a few coats of the yellow, because what it's going to do is absorb into the paper a bit. And I'm going to do the body and the head like that. And you can see as soon as I do it, it kind of absorbs in to the water. So I think I'm going to grab another drop of the Whisper White and see what it does. So do that, mix it in, because what I'm trying to do is not have it absorb, because that's what straight ink will do. It'll just absorb right into that paper, especially when you're doing black. I definitely don't want that to go into the paper, and I want that yellow to show so you can tell it's a bumblebee. So I'm going to do that again, and I'll do the other 3, and we'll put a few coats on them. So I've got my bees done, and I put some black dimensionals on the back, and I'm using my silicone craft sheet because that's great, because the tapes are pulled off and it won't stick. So now I'm going to put on the sentiment, and it's Stay Wonderful here, and I'm going to just put this on first so I know where to put the bumblebees. So I'm going to put it there, and then these have already got, like I said, the tapes off. So don't forget, I do give away the demo card. So if you're a first-time subscriber, just like, subscribe, and put your mailing address in the comments, and I'll mail you out the card, or you can send me your email, and I'll email you back, and I'll get your address, so I can get you out a catalog. Now, when putting on these bumblebees, make sure you don't touch that yellow for a while. In fact, in between, you might want to give it at least an hour to dry, but I'm doing the video, so anyway. And then we're just going to put it up on the card, and that's it. So that's how you make this really cool background. We're done with the card. Don't forget, I give away the demo cards. If you're a first-time subscriber, like, subscribe, and put your address in the comments or your email if you're not. If you want to go ahead and just have me email you, and you can give me your address. So anyway, that is both of the cards. So that'll do it for me. Oh, and I have 4 demo cards giveaway. So that's it. Thanks. Bye.